This is a good crowd here at ANZ Rugby League headquarters for tonight's elimination semi-final. I'd estimate it's twice as big as the crowd attracted last night. So the people have come down the Hume Highway from Canberra, and of course the red and the green very much in dominance, as you would expect. The pride of the league battling to make the grand final and battling to win their 21st premiership. So it's very much a case of the green tonight, red and green versus the green, although their major strip tonight, of course, is the white jumper. Whatever happens tonight, the Raiders have made a memorable comeback this year. It's not to be understated. At the halfway mark after 13 rounds, they were second last on the ladder, and the record reads 4 wins and 8 losses on the way home. They've won 10-3 in the home straightaway. So their start was horrible, and of course poor old David Furner, his name was always being thrown around as the favourite for the coach to be shown the exit door first. Tonight he celebrates 100 matches as coach of the Canberra Raiders, so he's gone through the battle of survival. David Furner, one of their favourite sons, he played a couple of 100 games with them. So the Raiders about to come from the dressing rooms, and a chance for them to go on to the big dance in a couple of weeks' time. Winner of this match, of course, will come up against Canterbury. This mob, the Canberra Raiders, they've won 9 of their last 11. They've scored 20 tries, 110 points in the last 3 games, and in doing so have reignited the passion for league in the Capital Territory. It's been a magnificent revival. Last year they finished 15th. The spoon was almost theirs. This year they've come through as the 6th best team in the competition. Overall, they've won 27 of 45 matches they played against South. And even here at headquarters, they've won 3 of 5. Well, there he is, the man of the match from last Sunday, Sam Williams. Not Tom. I'm sorry to the Williams family for, as I said, giving him a new Christian name, but it was only momentarily. David Shillington and Dane Tilts both tonight will celebrate 150 first-grade games. Michael Crocker is on camera there, the South's captain, and it's his 200th tonight. Nathan Merritt was to have celebrated the same milestone as Michael prepares to take the red and the green out onto ANZ Stadium, and they'll be met by a wonderful crowd. It'll be a great ovation. Probably a crowd of, I would imagine, about 32, maybe 33,000 people here. Big question, of course, with the Rabbitohs is, have they learned anything from last weekend? It was almost a case of a surrender against Melbourne, with somebody put the headline in, the Rabbits were trapped in the headlights. And that's very much the way they looked. They seemed overawed by the occasion. Not only do they have to win tonight, they have to pick themselves up off the floor of Melbourne and once again believe they can go on and win this competition. They've won their last 3 against the Raiders, and they've won 10 of their last games, 10 of their last 11 games here at ANZ Stadium. And as I said, a great night for Michael Crocker playing his 200th. And the Raiders will fear most of all, of course, will be the number 1, Greg Inglis. He's played against Canberra 12 times for 11 victories. That includes, of course, his time in Melbourne. But he's also scored a whopping 15 tries against them. The big fellow who had a bit of a bronchial problem during the week. So Canberra's going to run right to left.
Still got these things on the field, mate.
Bronchial problems, they're hard to get rid of, aren't they? As Josh Dugan prepares to start this game under Matt Checken and Tony Archer. So another one is about to leave the finals. We'll be down to 4 after tonight. Dugan will kick off, sending it down to the northern end. Underneath it is Sutton. And Asatasi carries the ball back. to be met by Canberra about 11 metres out from the South Sydney line. And ahead goes the 15 for South Sydney, Luke Burgess in the run-on side. And David Taylor was with it now. Beaten tonight, and Taylor will join the Gold Coast the next time he runs onto the park. Crocker inside the 40-metre line. Luke is the run-on dummy half, and this is Burgess cracking the line. Not over the top of Shellington, just into Canberra's area. So it's been a tidy start from South Sydney as Sutton puts it down to Earl, and he will play the ball just inside 30.
Yeah, not a great kick there from John Sutton. I really like Sam Burgess on the fringe. Dropping back into the second row allows him to play just that little bit wider. And we'll be able to see more of his ball skills and evasion as David Shillington takes his team forward. Just and over halfway.
Buttress to William. Back on the inside, and Shillington, the captain, I mentioned, did I not, 150 for him and Dane Tilse tonight. And away it goes to McCrone, who's the orchestrator. And that is Papali, who plays the ball on the 30-metre line. McCrone goes to the air. And battered down by Dugan, taken by Tilse and dropped on the ground for Sam Williams, and floats the ball away to Ferguson, who was a sitting duck.
Handover.
And that's a handover going to Souths.
Kick coming, Raiders.
Well, they didn't contest the kick, South Sydney, as Roy Asatasi burst through the first defender. But they covered it quite well. As Luke goes to the far side, Sutton finds Sam Burgess again on the fringe.
Sutton from dummy half to his captain. Crocker playing it. Luke giving it to Sutton. Just wondering how many minutes Isaac will play. A penalty goes to Souths.
He's already up, mate.
The tackler came up with the leg. South Sydney fans love it. There's the offender.
And South Sydney will be very buoyed by the fact in their couple of possessions with the ball, players have made good ground. They've dug into the Canberra line and bent them back and advanced the ball upfield pretty comfortably. So that's a good sign for the Rabbitohs.
Sutton wins. Burgess, Luke, playing it just outside the 20-metre line. Asatasi running a decoy as it goes away to Reynolds. He turns it back on the inside for Taylor. Taylor is 11 metres out, right in front of the uprights, down at the southern end of the ground. Luke runs away, dummies to Asatasi, goes behind the decoy, gets it onto Sutton. The ball goes away then to Inglis, coming in from the back. And Inglis will play the ball on 3. Burgess dummy half. It's gone to Sutton. He double pumps, it goes to Reynolds, it goes to Luke, and Luke scurries back and is ringed by Canberra. Fourth tackle, 11 out. Middle ground. Asatasi to Reynolds, to Taylor. Taylor picked up and put on his back hard. Williams one tackler and Watson the other. Now the kick from Reynolds, and that's a good catch by Ferguson out there. There's plenty of bandaging on him. He's walked out of the emergency ward.
Well, he's very good in the air, and he proved it again there. He scored a try from a bomb last week. That was good defence from Canberra, and it needed to be, because there's a lot of energy in the South Sydney attack early in this game. And that's Shillington now. I got them mixed up, Shillington and Tills early in the game. They do look alike.
On his 20-metre line then, Fenson. And Fenson will play the ball on the 30-metre line. There's a Taylor. I think they named him Player of the Year, did they not? Canberra. Buttress now. Scored that good try last Sunday and that magnificent afternoon in Canberra. As the ball is reefed down the ground by McCrone to Inglis. He's got young Hunt with him. And Inglis runs away over to the left side towards McQueen. Playing in yet another position tonight, McQueen. He's Mr. Fix-It really for South Sydney. This is Justin Hunt. God, they've got some work to do, these referees, vocally, haven't they? Movement. Surrender. Come back to me. You're not square. God. Here's Crocker now. Taken on the 40-metre line. Canberra's into the ground. Luke it was who went back and then got the ball away to Taylor. Taylor runs to the line, gets it to Sutton. Sutton gets it away to Farrell. Tippy toes, get the ball inside and knocks on number 3, Everingham.
Sorry, Rusty.
He also had a foot on the line here, according to the touch judge. He's got his flag up, even though it was spilled back in field. But again, the Rabbitohs making easy ground and pushing defenders out of the way. He's got his foot on the line there, and even though the pass was dropped back on the inside, it didn't matter. Everingham come up with the fumble.
Toyota Cup tonight, and the Roosters defeated the Warriors 26-10. Roosters will play the Tigers for a spot in the grand final next week in Toyota Cup.
You know, in the Toyota Cup final series, all the lower seeds have won. 1 and 2 are now knocked out of the competition, and in every game the lowest seed has won. It's been incredible.
Thompson playing in the, I was going to say playing in the centres, but Whiten, of course, was called up from the under-20s to play in that position. Here's McCrone now, dropping the ball on his right foot and sending it down into the corner. And that's good thinking, because if he's at all easy to defend against, that's the place for him. Now, South Sydney, I was going to say they had a player hurt, but he is injured too, Hunt. He just doesn't want to show it.
Well, that's a superb kick from the Raiders, and they've done really well. They were on the back foot in the opening minutes of this game, and Everingham trying to put them back there again, but they changed the momentum with that kick, and they're working their way into this game, although Luke causing some problems out of dummy half, as he generally does. Gets the ball away to Sutton.
Sutton's away. He's inside the 30-metre line. The support is coming. It's coming all right, and rushing away to score is Reynolds. The number 7, Adam Reynolds, scores for South Sydney.
And they've gone 100 metres in 4 plays there. It was a great kick from the Canberra Raiders. They got down that end, but then some quick play of the balls. And South Sydney, with Isaac Luke featuring very, very prominently. Mentioned before the game, no surprise that he's in the starting lineup. Saw that there was one marker there, went down the short side, spun out of the tackle of McCrone, popped it back on the inside, left foot step from John Sutton, burst through some flimsy defence, and then 3 players lined up. Adam Reynolds in the best position on the inside of Greg Inglis, and he's celebrating before he puts the football down.
Reynolds will attempt conversion of his own try. So back at ANZ Stadium, first points on the board in this, the second elimination semi-final. And the kicker, of course, is the try scorer, Adam Reynolds, from right in front into the southern stand. So 6-0 now the score in favour of Souths over Canberra, and Andrew Johns on the sideline.
Yeah, you said in the call, Rabs, they'll go nowhere, the Rabbits. It was a great kick to the corner. This would turn the set around. Look at this run on the Kuno Rupe by Sam Burgess. Marches forward 15 metres, plays the ball quick, and then it's the knock-on effect. And then look at this man there to dummy half. Unstoppable. Little dynamo gets through 2, 3, and then Johnny Sutton. That's his signature move. Left foot step. Big fend, and then up the middle. Adam Reynolds. That'll do his confidence and wonders a lot of good.
Asitasi then. Burgess. So Luke playing the ball 25 out from his own line.
They're really running without fear at the moment, South Sydney. Unless the Raiders get their shoulders into the work and start to hurt a few of these blokes, South Sydney will continue to rampage here.
Here's Luke again, poking his nose through, and Sutton is with him again. Sutton looks to unload. He does that back to Asatasi. He runs through another line of defenders and takes it down to the 20-metre line, where it's paid quickly. It has come from Luke, and Reynolds puts a grubber kick in. Going after it is Farrell, but it's been forced in goal.
Goal line drop out.
Forced by Robinson.
This is just how South Sydney like it. Defence standing back and waiting for them, and they're just spearing onto the ball and jamming it into the defenders and pushing them out of the way. Feeble attempts at tackle there, standing in tackles and looking for offloads. It's all too comfortable for the Rabbitohs at the moment.
As a drop kick goes, that was probably 3 out of 10. And I think I'm being complimentary. Here's Luke Burgess with the ball. And now Isaac Luke going into Asatasi. Asatasi is 15 metres away from the Canberra line. Isaac playing a big game. Big part in this as Sutton gave it to Burgess. It was raked out, went backwards. Crocker will play the ball. Playing at 10 metres out from the line. They come back towards the centre with Sam Burgess. And again, he's put to ground. 7 metres out, Luke goes back to Sutton, and Sutton on to Reynolds, and Reynolds to Taylor, and that's a knock-on by Taylor. That's a good tackle by young Whiten in the centre.
Yeah, they needed that, and the Canberra teammates appreciated it. Big men running hard, playing the ball quickly. It doesn't get much more dangerous, the combination. And somewhere Canberra had to make a line in the sand, draw a line in the sand, and young Whiten has done that with that shot on Dave Taylor.
Well, it's a message to his teammates, isn't it? They've got to get physical here, the Raiders. They've got to get it into their heads. They've got to get their bodies into the game. They can't wait just to be pretty when they've got the ball.
Shillington running it outside the 30-metre line. The Wallabies versus the Pumas coming up from the Gold Coast immediately following this game on 9 Wide World of Sports. And that is Thompson with the ball, just short of halfway. And this is Williams across, and Dane Tilts runs an inside line. 200 centimetres he stands, and he gets a penalty. They were hanging on too long. They became quite attached to him, actually.
And that's what got them into trouble last week. 5 penalties inside the first 23 minutes against Melbourne. And most of them allowing the Storm out of their own end way too easily. Well, the Raiders now, through the boot of Sam Williams, with fine touch inside the 30 with a full complement up their sleeve. A chance to strike back.
Williams takes the tap then, and he goes to, oh no, Whiten has knocked it on, and Reynolds will play the ball on 0, and here is Farrell with the ball, and Whiten goes across to make the tackle and try and clean up some of the damage that he's done, the young fellow. I feel sorry for him because it was just a simple pass that hit him right on the chest.
It's an extraordinary play, though, to have a young rookie centre hitting the ball up on first tackle from a tap kick. I don't get that.
Here's Inglis bouncing his way through the defence.
Surely that's someone else's job.
Here's Luke. 23 metres out, down the middle of the ground. And here it is coming from Crocker, and it's gone away to Reynolds again. Busy tonight. Wrong to single him out for being quiet in Melbourne. They were pretty much all quiet. But here's Sutton now putting a left foot kick over towards Shander Earl, and Earl is up above the pack. When he lands on the ground, Burgess puts him down for the play the ball, and now it's with Ferguson.
Ball down, mate.
And he's lost the ball. Wow. Canberra building a mountain. It's only 6-0, but the body language and some of the simple mistakes, you saw it from Whiten down the other end. Now Ferguson puts one down.
And the last thing South Sydney want to do is get lulled into a false sense of security here. They've got to be physical and ruthless with their defence. If their opposition are playing a little bit soft, it's no good getting soft with them. You've got to get harder, and sudden death finals. That's the time to stamp your authority. South Sydney can run up a number here.
David Taylor. There's the try line. And Sutton it is that just hands it across to Burgess, and Burgess is held in the three-man upright tackle. Here is Luke, and he goes behind two decoys. It's come away from the halfback and gone to Luke Burgess. And he knocks on, much to the glee of Canberra.
Okay.
Good crowd, Rabbits.
It is a good crowd. Yep. Phil, as we take a shot of the coach, Michael Maguire, who played 11 games for Canberra, played with David Furner, but there's another good shot of the crowd over on the eastern side, but the ends of the ground has also got good accommodation.
You mentioned teammates with David Furner, and also the fact that David Furner played 200 first-grade games for the Canberra side. It's 100 as a coach, top-grade coach tonight for that man we just saw on screen. Leading point scorer all-time for the Canberra side. Clive Churchill medal winner in '94.
So here's Dugan with the ball now. Playing it inside the 30-metre line, and Buttress goes for a run, and then he's picked up in a jolting tackle by Taylor. Taylor just picked him up like a rag doll and threw him on the ground. Now for Shillington. See if you can do it with him, David. No, he can't. Luke Burgess makes the tackle. They go away to McCrone, and now Ferguson puts it down. And Sutton's in the right place at the right time again. And McQueen, I thought he was going to knock on, but he was able to gather it back in. Referee calling out to Dane Tilse to get back on side. It's another job that they do, but I don't know that they need to do. Played by Crocker. Given the fact that there's these errors that are highlighting the aftermath of matches, make the job simpler for all these people. It might be a good idea. Asatasi tackle, penalty goes. Hand on the ball after the tackle. So South Sydney leading 6-0. The penalty right in the middle of the ground, 30 metres out.
Yeah, 6-0 at the moment. 2 points. Well, they're going to look to make it 8 points. I don't think Canberra will be disappointed with that decision. In fact, the best thing going for Canberra at the moment is the fact that the scoreline is only 6-0 because they have been under siege.
Canberra wearing black armbands tonight in memory of Jay Lascock, the Queanbeyan Blues captain, former Raiders junior. Queanbeyan Blues, of course, prior to Canberra coming into the league, under the guidance of Les McIntyre, John's dad. They were so strong, Queanbeyan Blues. And Jay was their captain, and he died at a very young age, 25. And that's the reason for the black armbands that Canberra are wearing tonight. Adam Reynolds from 30 metres out right in front then to take them out to 8-0, and he has guided it successfully between the uprights. So 8-0 in favour of South Sydney. 19 minutes gone, quarter of the game gone. It's pretty much all been South Sydney.
Yeah, and the Raiders have got to make a statement with this kickoff. They need to put the first bloke who carries the ball into orbit. If they just keep standing there and allowing South Sydney to run roughshod over them, they may as well jump on the bus and go home now.
Oh, this kick is big. This kick is... Oh, gee. Who took that ball?
John Sutton.
He had a mile of time to put his foot on the line.
Well, Asatasi knew what to do, but he relented and allowed Sutton to catch it because I think he thought the 5'8" was going to do the same thing and put his foot over the line.
You're saying that a front rower's got more brains than the 5'8"?
Well, I'm just saying he knew the situation better than Sutton did on that occasion as Burgess nearly gets through. Another quick play the ball.
And here is Sutton going over half. Oh, he ran into a shoulder from Papali. And then he bounced up, and away he goes again, Sutton. And they're just letting him basically do whatever he wants to do, both he and Isaac Luke. There's Michael Crocker, 25 away from the line. Luke away to Reynolds on the last, and he kicks high down into the corner. Dugan's under it. And And Everingham might have given him a little bump, but there was nothing in it. And Dugan sprints back to take a quick 20-metre tap, and he does that. And he runs it out to the 30-metre line. And we'll play the ball for Canberra, the fullback. Now for Ferguson. Ferguson went through Crocker's tackle. And might have hurt the captain a little bit too. And here goes Shanderell. And he's got through one tackle. He's pulled down on South Sydney's 30-metre line. He's appealing for a penalty, but has come from McCrone and gone away then to Leroy Lars. And Leroy Lars plays the ball. Here is Shellington on to McCrone. McCrone back to Williams. Williams showed it to Thompson and decided to go. He'll play it 12 metres out from the line. Buttress goes the other way. McCrone puts a kick in. They should mark it easily. They do. And here's Justin Hunt now coming back to the 20-metre line.
Well, that was a very poor kick from Josh McCrone. And he will know that's the case. He had time to get that one right. It was a missed kick way too deep. And at this level, you can't give away 20 cheap metres.
But Ferner's head went down like a beaten favourite.
Helps when you bash your head on the desk.
I do it every Saturday, about 15 times a day. Here's Burgess with the ball. Matter of fact, I do it Sunday, Monday, right through to Saturday. Here's Luke, gets the ball away, out to Reynolds. Reynolds back to Taylor. Taylor decides to have a run. He puts a fend up in the face of Whiten. Ball is played 10 metres out. Reynolds is with it. He toes it in. Crocker's got a chance. Crocker might have scored. I'm not going to say that he didn't. 200 games. Has he scored? Michael Crocker.
Well, it comes off two Raiders before it gets into the hands of Michael Crocker. Keen to see where he is in relation to the kicker as well, because Adam Reynolds, he was thinking maybe run the football here. Crocker wants it kicked. And eventually it does happen. He stays maybe just onside. Now it hits Dugan and then goes on to McCrone. I think he might have got his hands down on that McCrone before it gets to Crocker.
I think McCrone forces this. He drops it and then he'll just bang it into the ground. There it is.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. A little downward pat on the ball. Although he said with an apostrophe, no try. Who's got that job tonight? The one that nobody wants. Russell Smith and Sean Hampstead.
Gus, was that an intentional grounding there from Josh McCrone?
It looked pretty intentional, didn't it? Yeah. He actually did well, because if he'd have tried to pick it up, he might have fumbled it again. So it was smart thinking just to slam his fist down on top of it. Watch this, he fumbles it. He likes to try and pick that up again, but he just slammed it down with his right hand and made it dead. Good play. South Sydney, look at this. He's rampaging over the top of this side.
Pettybourne on the 30-metre line. The ball with Luke Burgess now to the 20-metre line. So South Sydney, it's almost like they're running downhill. Burgess picked up and given by McQueen to Sutton, who goes back to Inglis, and he goes back to a second man to Reynolds, and Reynolds to Luke, and Luke away to Farrell. Farrell to Everingham, and Everingham has scored. Everingham has scored. The corner post went, but that doesn't come into it anymore. But Matt Checken wants to have a look at it.
He scored with his very first touch in first grade back in round 3 against Penrith, did Andrew Everingham. And in his debut season, he's been tremendous. Leading try scorer for the South Sydney side at the moment. And as Jack Whiten does his best to try and deny, he has been unable to stop Everingham scoring another one. His foot stays in the field of play and the point of the ball touches the ground.
And it's going to make it very difficult if and when Nathan Merritt does come back this year to try the South Sydney to take a break and come back. there he is, this rookie, Andrew Everingham, 25 years of age. We've talked about him a heap of times. I was trying to relate the story of Nathan Merritt, if he comes back this year, and if South Sydney continue on. This kid leads him now, I think it's by 2, in the most number of tries scored for South this year, which is a record that Nathan has held with great pride, I'm sure, since 2006.
He's a wonderful goal kicker, this boy. Interesting style. He gives it a real punch at the bottom. There's not a really big flamboyant follow through, and it's just sort of little short, sharp jab right at the bottom, and not a great deal of extravagance at all about it. And the ball just seems to fly straight.
So 24 out on the touchline, and I think he's got it. Yes, he has. Thought you might have put a hex on him, but you didn't. Wally Lewis sideline.
And that was a beautifully constructed play from the Rabbitohs. The set before, Big Dave Taylor had been used to lure in a couple of defenders. The Keno replay will show him just targeting a couple of and holding in some Raiders defence there. They knew that he was the man to go to. Simple pass the ball on. They just didn't have enough defenders, the Raiders.
Play by Burgess. Now another Burgess. Sam, just outside the 20-metre line. Up with Crocker. Out to the 30 now. Winner of this match will play Canterbury in the preliminary final. The other preliminary final, Manly and Melbourne, we know is Friday. Canterbury will play the winner of this on Saturday of next weekend. Pettybourne. Now to Reynolds, and Reynolds driving it down towards the goal area where Chanderelle brings it back at pace.
And this is a scoreline more appropriate with what we've seen in the opening 25 minutes. It has all been South Sydney. So it's 6 and 8 nil. It really didn't underline it, but 14 getting out to where the run of play says it should be. Good hands from Dylan Farrell to put Everingham over in that second try as well.
Dugan, Robinson, 16 tries this year. Reece Robinson, together with Jared Crocker. And Jared, of course, would be here tonight, I'm sure, watching the game. What a shame for the youngster to be missing a night like tonight with that awful injury that he suffered last Sunday. It was the only downside, really, of last Sunday, was the injury to Crocker.
We've seen South Sydney a number of times this year get out to a good lead like this, and then they go into a little bit of a lull and invite the opposition back in. Again, sudden death football is not the time to be doing that. They don't want to invite the Raiders back into the contest cheaply at all.
Got in the road of David Taylor, and he gave him a sort of a love tap and sent him spiralling back about 3 metres. Michael Crocker is with the ball now, and he'll play the ball pretty much on the halfway line. Play back for Isaac Luke, going to Sutton, onto his left foot. Dugan. 20 metres out from his own line then.
And you're spot on about Jared Croker being hero. We saw the shot of him sitting up next to Terry Campese, both with concerned looks on their faces, as you would expect.
Ferguson now. Here's Earl.
Let go now.
15 short of the halfway mark, and Canberra already in deep trouble, 14-0 down. Robinson. Now Berrigan is out there to try and set things alight a little bit for Canberra. 5 tackles gone, and a penalty goes to the Raiders. And this might give them some kind of an opportunity.
Nice energy there from Berrigan coming off the bench. That's what you want a bench player to do, change the momentum. And he's got a penalty which could potentially do that. That's a terrible kick. Who was that, Sam Williams? Terrible kick for touch.
Leroy Lars. Tyrrell's out there in 19. Now Fenson. Just inside the South Sydney 20-metre line. And Nichols in the headgear. McCrone, headgear is Williams. And Williams! Oh, Williams will score. They might ask the question about obstruction. Yeah, Archer's going to ask a question about obstruction.
I want to check a possible obstruction in there in the line.
But Sam Williams, at the moment, has got a try.
Yeah, we spoke about his ability to take the ball to the line. Not a lot of number 7s do it in the competition. More should. And he's operating second receiver outside of Josh McCrone. On his outside is Joel Thompson. Josh Dugan coming. That's Thompson getting tangled up with Taylor, but I think he was already committed, Taylor.
That's not an obstruction.
No, he's through.
He's just thrown the dummy there and players have dropped off and he strolled through. And that's what I mean about South Sydney. They can be brilliant one moment and then really slack the next.
It's a try for Canberra, 14-4 now. There's the try scorer, Sam Williams. The goal kicker is Josh Dugan, who had a few kicks last Sunday before he sacked himself. And I'm sure he's a much better kicker than what we saw last Sunday. Here he is right in front. So Dugan, well, he got it, but it was moving away very much towards the left-hand upright. So 14-6 now. Andrew John sideline.
Yeah, just watch Sam Williams here. This is what great ball players do on the Kuno replay. They go to the line with a little bit of a plan, but they don't preempt who they're going to hit. He pumps the ball, he's showing the ball. He sees Dave Taylor slides off him, and that's where he puts the accelerator down. Great ball playing.
Nichols. Jumper number 16 in the black headgear. Brings it back, and this is Papali. In fact, it's not Papali, but in fact Leroy Lance. Here's Williams going back and picking up Dugan, flashing into his back line, and tackled right on halfway. Pulled down there by Farrell. Now Robinson. And Robinson has taken the ground 37 metres away from the South Sydney line. Berrigan, he has certainly just lifted them a little bit. Thompson's with the ball, and Thompson is hurt.
Oh, mate, no earlies, wait for it.
Well, he's going to get up and play it. I'd have been probably thinking if I stay down, I might get a penalty. The kick is down. It's, oh, this might be a try. Shandor Earl. Shandor Earl, who can make something out of nothing, has done just that.
He scored plenty of tries in the last couple of weeks. Really enjoying the move from Penrith down to the Canberra Raiders. He got a nice ricochet here from the South Sydney player trying to catch it. It was a good kick from Sam Williams. Isolated the far winger Justin Hunt, who went high, couldn't take it, hit his fingertips onto his chest, and eventually into the arms of Shandor Earl. They get their second try, and Josh Dugan a chance to convert here to put the team just 2 behind.
All day.
This has turned remarkably in the last couple of minutes. The Keno replay here will show the chase was good. They tried to get in the way of Blake Ferguson, but they forgot about Earl on the outside.
Really good awareness there to keep his eyes on the ball. That wasn't easy to do with his back turned like that. He's like that Shandor. He can just pluck one out of nowhere. And a really important kick here for Josh Dugan for his own confidence, not to mention the state of the game. Come on, son. One good short poke.
On its way, and it's taken the paintwork and bounced straight back at him. Wally Lewis on the sideline.
Well, a little bit of bad luck there for the Raiders with the goal kick, but plenty of good fortune. In the 4 tackles, they'd made 65 metres. They were on a bit of a roll. Some real desperation to be able to get themselves into good field position. A wonderfully placed kick. A little bit of fortune going their way, and there have been plenty of things going their way since we've had Sean Berrigan on the field. A wonderful dummy half runner.
Canberra now just trailing by 4, and they get a penalty on their way out of their danger zone.
High shot here from the South Sydney defenders.
Tom, I've got it. I've got it. Go back. I've got it. Ty. Where you go?
Well, you know, I mean, give credit to the Raiders, but gee, South Sydney in the last 10 minutes have really invited them back.
That is a high shot from Sam Burgess. Not quite sure what he was questioning. That's Berrigan now darting forward.
Let him go, Ben.
Locked in.
So this is Ferguson. Getting up towards halfway with Leroy Lars now. Right in the centre of the ground. Back it comes to Williams, and then back on the inside to Fenson. Williams to the line, and then a jolting tackle on Thompson. Just outside the 20-metre line. Tackler was Farrell. It's gone to Williams again, and he goes again looking for Shander Earl. And up they go. Oh, Ferguson got hands to it, but it came down to Inglis, and Inglis is out. And tackled by Dugan initially, out on the 20-metre line. Here is Justin Hunt with the ball now.
That was another very good kick from Sam Williams. You want the ball coming down as you chase the arrivals. A mistake from South Sydney. No, they will be penalised, Canberra. Marker not square.
Stand down.
All right, well, there's a little bit of push and shove now and some feeling back into the game, and that's
Marker not square.
exactly what the Raiders needed to find. They're in there and they're chesting them and standing up on them a little bit better. The message has gone out there, either stand up to them or get run over.
So the 18 for South is Ben Lowe. Sutton. Eddie Bourne. 28 metres out from the Canberra line. And that pass looked forward from Luke. Being played just inside the 20 by Tyrrell. And here it is coming back to Reynolds, and decoys everywhere. Then English is well taken by Whiten. As the ball goes across now to Teddy Bourne. Last tackle for South. And Reynolds gets a bomb away. Oh, McQueen is right up there. They've got to score. Souths are going over through Sam Burgess. What a jump from McQueen. Nobody wanted to take any part in it. He went up there, brought it down, gave it to Sam, and away they went.
Well, when you stand 6'2" or 3" and you jump, you've got a bit of an advantage. He's a really good player, Chris McQueen. He's got some skill about him, this young man. And he soars high, gets it on the chest, flicks it out the back, and John Sutton threw it to Sam Burgess. He dummied, brought it around. It wasn't a great set leading up to the kick, but the end of it was ideal. He was high jumping there, and then had the cool head to keep the football alive, knowing it was the last.
It was brilliant work by the kicker, Adam Reynolds, because he actually balked himself and then had to come up with a second kick option. he got real good pressure from the Raiders and then took a little step to the right to avoid the defence before putting a perfect kick in. Great work by the halfback there. Lovely kick.
He's very excited, the coach, Michael Maguire. And the man sitting next to him in the glasses, Wayne Collins. Had a fair career down in the national capital as well, didn't he? Hooker.
He certainly did, Pete. Wayne Collins, yes. But this McQueen kid, he's one of these youngsters that I've talked about often this year, coming off the bench particularly. He and Tyrrell and Clark, those sort of people. They're very, very enthusiastic players. They put energy into the side. The conversion is successful. Wally Lewis sideline.
Boys, we've heard about the importance of hang time when you put a kick up to allow your chasers to be able to get underneath the ball. The Keno replay, have a look at this for hang time. He gets up in the air, manages to put himself up on the shoulders of one of the Raiders defenders, Blake Ferguson, but he just got up over the top, and there was some real desperation shown by Sammy Burgess there. That's going to inspire plenty of self-belief in the Rabbitohs.
Little touch of the light, fantastic from Matt Checken as well, as he saw the big frame of Sam Burgess bearing down on him. So just when we were talking about South Sydney clocking off, they've certainly clocked back on and taken it out to 20 points to 10 again, coming up towards half-time, which is just 1 minute away. Players near the halfway line. And South Sydney with a big back line out to the right, and Taylor shovels Williams. 20 to 10 then. As Reynolds again puts a kick up. Inglis is onside chasing. And the ball allowed to bounce by Shander Earl. Hunt will pick up the ball for South, and he gives it to Sutton. And Sutton is taken to ground. So that'll be changeover to Canberra. And Nichols goes across the face of Dugan. Williams lost the grip on the ball. Thus it was an ordinary pass over to Thompson.
Last play of the first half coming up. That could have been dangerous there if Williams' pass was good. They'll neatly just play at the time here now. And that's our half-time score, Rabbits, 20 to 10.
Well done, Gus. Michael Maguire heading for the sheds. He would have been happy with what he saw at the start. He certainly wouldn't be very happy with the middle, but the end has been quite good for him. 20 to 10 then, the Rabbitohs with 3 tries to 2.
Yeah, we're good.
Big crowd.
Stay behind.
Sweet, man. Let's go.
Heaving with excitement. Well, South Sydney take us off into the second half and the end of the season getting closer by the minute for one of these clubs. Leroy Lars is with the ball. He'll play it in the middle of the ground on the 20-metre line. Berrigan, a dummy half, still, and why not? He's been very good. Fensom got a good ball away. Berrigan runs an arc and then runs into traffic, then stands, offload to Leroy Lars. He comes to Taylor and Pettybourne, and they put him down. This pass juggled by McCrone. He's given it to Papali, and Josh Papali to play the ball. 5 or 6 metres into South Sydney's territory. Here's Nichols. And a handoff back to Berrigan, but Berrigan probably thinking to himself, well, that was a waste of time because there was a fellow already with his arms around him practically. Sam Williams puts a kick up, and Inglis has made a mistake, and it's come down to Thompson, and he's thrown the pass into touch.
South, no advantage. No advantage.
No advantage, he's saying.
Yeah, it's an interesting call because I think if the pass had found the mark from the Canberra player, they may have scored in the corner. Rare to see Greg Inglis put one down. Bounced into the arms of Joel Thompson. And he did throw the pass, but the referee saying not enough of an advantage.
Gee, it's an interesting call.
It is.
I'm not as acquainted with the rules as Tony Archer, but that's an interesting call. You're absolutely right. If he happens to pick that ball up, they score. We can find the line, Robinson. Anyway, we're back with the live action, and it's Whiten who plays the ball. It's come away to Williams, and now to Fenson. And Fenson will play the ball 8 metres out from the line. Playing it to Berrigan. Berrigan run around with Leroy Lars, and then Nichols puts it down badly. And coming away is Tyrrell with a big strong run. David Tyrrell with the hair tonight closely cropped. This is about his fourth hairdo of the season. And Greg Inglis plays it on the 40-metre line. There's David Taylor fending and trampling and stampeding and getting it to Luke and getting it to Everingham, and Everingham, he fends away another. He comes inside the 30-metre line. Good football by the Rabbitohs. Pass then by Reynolds, high to Sutton. He drops it down to Ben Lowe, and that line is the 20-metre line in front of Ben Lowe, right down the middle of the park. Here is Sutton, and he runs to the line and gives it to Sam Burgess. And Burgess is held by Papali. Plays it back, Isaac Lucas with it, but he's cuddled into the ground by Leroy Lars. On the last tackle then, they go deep and wide to Reynolds, who double pumps and then kicks. They'll score! Yes, Farrell has scored for South. Well, Reynolds, it was just such a long pause from him. He worked it out, and then he's put a little grubber in, and Canberra's Dugan has come up, and Farrell's got in behind him.
He's done it all season, Adam Reynolds. Looked like he's been in trouble, but he hasn't panicked, kept his head about him, summed up the situation. It's a difficult kick that he eventually gets away, and it goes underneath Josh Dugan, and coming through the number 4, Dylan Farrell, to touchdown. Big points early second half.
Adam Reynolds is about to attempt a penalty kick at goal, Andrew. Everingham on camera, but Dylan Farrell is the try scorer, the number 4. So this kick is historic in many ways. He'll become only the second player in South's history to score 200 in the season. Well, there is Lonnie Haley on the wristband of Dylan Farrell, the try scorer. But on this goal kick, Adam Reynolds is about to become, if he kicks it, the scorer of 200 in a season. He'll be only the second player in South's history to do it. Eric Sims did it. He did it 4 times, Eric, the great fullback. And Reynolds with this kick, it's online. Join the club. There's only 2 in it, you and Eric Sims, one of the great South Sydney players. Andrew Johns on the sideline.
Yeah, I wrapped up Sam Williams in the first half. I just love what he does here, Adam Reynolds. Watch this, double pump, double pump, double pump. Just waits for defence. And you see number 3 there, Joel Thompson. He just poked his head out of the line. It's giving that little channel to get the ball through the line.
Pettyborn.
I'll tell you what, the try scorer deserves some recognition too. If you look at the high shot, how well he did to stay on side while Reynolds was dummying and pumping and taking his time to kick the ball. Farrell actually marks time on the spot to keep himself on side while all that was going on. Really smart play.
Played then by Tyrrell. And here is Luke running across and linking up with Taylor, and Taylor gets it to the halfway line. They keep going to the right side, and Reynolds it is that puts a kick down that bounces friendly down to Dugan, and Dugan will play the ball just beyond his own 20-metre line.
And that last try just shows you how in finals football, if you don't get it right, you pay the penalty. Moments before that, the Canberra Raiders at the other end of the field. 3rd tackle, short ball from Berrigan to Nichols, down it went, and a golden opportunity missed. And then 6 conceded in the next set.
This is Ferguson on the halfway line, and Berrigan uses Chandler Earl, and Tyrrell goes down around the legs immediately, and Sutton came over the top with the bear hug. Was there a knock on there? No, it was just a little juggle from Berrigan apparently. Williams got it away. Dugan joins in. So Canberra on the attack. 25 metres out from the line. And Fensom is the dummy half. Williams out at first. He puts a kick in, but it's a mile too deep. And no pressure for Hunt. The only pressure really he applied himself when he fell over. but it was a kick that didn't have very much purpose about it. Played then by McQueen. And now with David Taylor just outside the 20-metre line. They haven't won a finals game in 25 years, the Rabbits. So tonight they're on course. I won't go there. I won't go quite there yet. But 26-10, they're on course to create another milestone for themselves, as young Adam Reynolds has just done with that kick at goal. He drives it now down. It'll stop in goal. Lovely weight. Dugan in the pink boots brings it away. McQueen is up there to take him.
That's hours of work on the training paddock there. Adam Reynolds driving the ball 50 metres to get it to stop exactly where he wanted in the in goal. Into open space between defenders and forcing Canberra to bring it out from inside their 20 through Papali.
The chase, of course, by McQueen and another player. I can't think who it was right now, emphasising the kick is only as good as the chase. And it's played out there by Shillington, and running with it is Shander Earl. And he's got this wonderful swerve. He can make a fool of you. Here's Berrigan turning it back into McCrone, who got it back to Earl, and Earl is boot-laced by Tyrrell. Geez, he can tackle low, Tyrrell. He's a wonderful exponent of the old tackle. Here is Williams, and Williams looking at the try line.
The handover. Hey!
Changeover.
Hey, wait.
When he scored his try in the first half, he ran straight past Greg Inglis.
Wait.
And I think Inglis took that as a personal challenge there, that it wouldn't happen
Right,
again.
Yeah, mate. Where you go,
Williams put a good right foot step on him, and Inglis held on strong with the right arm. Didn't let him get into the end goal. Got a good shot at him. And he might have hurt himself, Inglis. He's just worried about his left leg there below the knee. He's not very happy at all. It might have been just a kick in the shin by the look of it. Nothing with his knee.
Asatasi bringing it out to the 20-metre line. I don't know about Greg Inglis. I was reading those reports I mentioned at the top of the telecast about having some bronchial problem, and he's certainly not. He's not totally on song tonight. Maybe he's been well defended. I'm not sure, but it's not the Greg Inglis that we've come to see this year, putting himself almost at the top of the honour roll of rugby league. Shander Earl is with the ball, 35 out from his own line, 26-10, and we've had 10 minutes of the second half. And that is Ferguson, who'll play the ball on the halfway line. It can look very much like Joel Thompson from the distance. Fensom, Berrigan it is now, going into dummy half for Fensom.
We spoke of one number one, Ray, the other one as well, Josh Dugan, needs to somehow inject himself into this game. 16 points behind his side. He can come up with something special. They need it.
McCrone turning it back in. One-handed pass back to Fensom. You're quite right about Dugan. He's one of those electrifying players, but we haven't seen that much from him. Here's Ferguson, and he got the ball out the back, but it's gone out the back. All right, it's landed in row 3. Coach, head goes down again.
Makes you wonder who he thought was going to catch that. Just fired it like a bullet.
Well, that cameraman of ours, he looks like he's built for comfort more than for speed. He would have been handy.
It's this zing. It's way out of the way.
He belies his looks, that cameraman of ours, by the way. I've seen him run the 100 in a tick over 11.
No, he's got a good motor.
He's one of the few that goes in the 100 metres and the marathon.
That's exactly right. Here's Reynolds getting it on. Taylor's got the fend out. Now he loses the ball, so it'll be a scrum.
Good swap catch.
Young Sam Williams around the bootlaces there on Dave Taylor. It looked dangerous, but the halfback did well.
That's playing to the crowd, though. You've got to be more ruthless than that. South Sydney, not the sort of team that can afford to just frivolously throw the ball away at any opportunity. I mean, that's ridiculous, really. This is sudden death finals time. If they win tonight, they go up against the Bulldogs. There's our athlete.
Yeah, there's the athlete there.
Heads in, back rowers.
Give him the ball. Give him the ball. See how you go with him. So here's Canberra winning the scrum, and Dugan is tackled on the blind side, 30 metres out. Play back to Sean Berrigan. Now David Shillington, and the captain 20 metres out from the line. Play back to Berrigan. Berrigan away to Tilson, then Williams, and now Fensom. And Fensom is 10 metres out. They're running to the south. And a chance here for Canberra. Can they do something with it? McCrone back to Robinson. Robinson away, and Ferguson's in. Well, there's a couple of South Sydney players pointing, but Checken is pointing at the ground, so that's the end of that argument.
Well, that goes back to the Taylor pass, you know, and that's what I mean about being ruthless in big games. You invite the opposition and show them disrespect, and this is what will happen to you. Lovely play by the Raiders on the back end of this. Beautiful ball movement, good decoy run, lovely pass held up here. That's lovely play, but they should never have had the ball in that position.
Stop. Louise follows them. So there's the try scorer. We've talked about him as being enigmatic, I think is the word. He can be very, Andrew John said it earlier, he's absolutely right. He can be very good, or he can be very, very clumsy. Here's Dugan from 2 metres in, 22 metres out. Filling a big pair of shoes tonight. Here he comes. And it looks okay. Oh, it's a good kick. Well done, Josh. So Canberra come back to 26-16 down now. Wally Lewis.
And they're alive and kicking at the moment, the Raiders. That's a smart play on the right side of the field. The Keno replay will show they had 5 on 4. It was held up a little bit. It caused some problem for Johnny Sutton, who just got held up a little, and another defender got drawn into it as well. But it is smart play. They're simply attacking the areas that are open to them.
Wally Lewis on the sideline is Andrew Johns tonight. Darren Lockyer on the panel. David Shillington playing the football.
Well, that was really nice execution there. Josh McCrone straightened it up as first receiver. Papali went through, and they targeted McQueen in the centre, and now South Sydney give away a penalty, holding on in the tackle. And a bit of momentum being gathered by the Raiders on the scoreboard and in general play now through Josh Dugan's kick.
America's most watched drama is back.
Back here, Sam.
Yeah, that's the penalty cause. America's most watched drama is back, saving lives like no one else can. New person of interest returns Monday after underbelly badness on 9. I'm going to catch this bloke on underbelly badness. He's driving me mad. He's just proven too smart for them. Mind you, I hope it takes them a long time to catch him because it's a good show. Here is, who's that? Thompson with the ball. Just inside the 30-metre line. Geez, that word's getting some popularity. Milking. Williams to McCrone. McCrone to Papali. And he'll play the ball on the 20-metre line. Youngster from Auckland. Now it's gone away to Tills, and he unloads to the other giant. Shillington will play the ball. So it goes on to Williams. He puts a little dab on it, and was there interference on a player not in possession? Referee said no. Played by Little Reynolds. Now Farrell gets it out towards the 10-metre line.
And there's the difference. Adam Reynolds getting the ball into in goal at the other end. Led to a try. That time Sam Williams couldn't weave it through to get a restart. Now sitting now through Ben Lowe, playing it straight.
Up to the 30-metre line. Now they're doing what Melbourne does, and does so well. Just ramming it up the middle. Simple little plays. Then they get to the back end, and then, well, Melbourne doesn't do that often. But Sutton it is that kicks, and they've got 6 more out of it because the the charge down was playing at the ball. So they got another set. Played by Greg Inglis. Back to Adam Reynolds. Here's David Taylor. Taylor just gives me the impression he's trying so damn hard. He really is trying so hard. And it's opened up a couple of mistakes. Ben Lowe knew there was a problem there, so he just sunk to the ground, hoping nobody would find him. Now it's gone to Sutton, and Sutton goes back behind Burgess, and then Inglis gets it away. There's Justin Hunt going down the left side. He runs out of space. They hunted him back in. Tackled by Earl. Now Sam and his brother running with him, and Shillington came over and blindsided him. He'll play the ball 12 metres out from the line. Here's Reynolds. He double pumps again. He kicks, and here's Robinson cleaning up. Well, that's the second best result you can get after 4.
Yep, there it is. Williams couldn't get in it at the other end. Adam Reynolds, when he gets the opportunity, keeps the pressure on.
It was a far better set of 6, wasn't it? Came from their own end of the field and then finished it off perfectly by forcing the line drop out.
At the line, Josh.
Now they need points on the back of that to re-establish their advantage.
So really, they've got 3 sets in a row. This is their 3rd set in a row. If you count the charge down, they've got a piggyback off that. They've got another piggyback off what young Reynolds did for them. So now Canberra defends, or will defend, ultimately 18 tackles. And here they are winding it up south with Lowe, taking it to 11 metres out from the line. Buckled him over quite dangerously as it comes out to Sutton. He goes back, and it's with Inglis, who spirals away from a tackle or an attempted tackle from Ferguson. And he'll play the ball 9 metres out from the line. Danger looming. Here's Sutton. Sutton, he's over the line, I think. Tony Archer wants to look at it.
Grounding.
I think John Sutton, big, strong.
Yep. Perfect.
And I think he's got it down.
Yeah, he scored a couple of weeks ago in exactly the same fashion, getting out of dummy half. Greg Inglis did the same in that match as well. Whilst he doesn't look that excited as he has a conversation with Sam Burgess, markers in a little disarray there. There were 3 of them. They weren't straight, going sideways. McCrone came up. Sutton, who is a very, very strong man, wrestles his way free. And does he get there? We'll have to have another look at that one.
Well, I'm wondering whether he's playing an advantage at the same time, Peter. You've made the point. There were 3 markers, not knowing exactly where to go. And even if this is disallowed, he may well go back and give a penalty.
Yeah, there's no doubt there was offside there. I was just wondering whether the ball's come down on his hand here. It's bounced up there, and then Dugan dives in underneath him and puts his hand under the ball again. I'm not so sure that there's any chalk in this. Tick, 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 tick. No. Yeah, he's held up there, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, this is going to be interesting now, because I just made the point. Oh, I didn't make it, Peter made it. There were 3 markers. And you're only allowed 2 inside the 10. And they must be direct. Now, there was 3. I'm wondering whether or not these referees were aware of that. And if this try is disallowed, they may give a penalty to South.
I'll do it, Chetch. I'll do it.
What about Sam Burgess on the outside? Did he play a role?
Go and speak to Arch. Just go. You're getting a penalty, okay?
Penalty. Sean Berrigan, not straight at marker.
Yeah.
Sean Berrigan's not straight at marker, involves himself, but he's held up.
It's not a matter of Sean Berrigan not being straight.
It's going to be a penalty to you because Sean Berrigan was not straight at marker and identified,
okay? There was 3 markers, Tony. It was as simple as that. Okay, so he wasn't straight. What about the 3rd one? So how many offences are we going to charge this man with? So the South Sydney side will take the kick at goal. Well done, Pedro, picking up those 3.
And opting to kick for goal here to try and put the team 2 converted tries in front.
That's an interesting decision. I don't know. I think the Raiders' defence is brittle enough on their own line that you'd have had another shot here and put it beyond the 2 converted tries. Although he doesn't miss this lad. They probably just see this as a gimme and an opportunity to go back and get the ball off the kick-off and go again.
Just repeating, this kid, Adam Reynolds, that Gus is talking about tonight, became the second player only in South Sydney's history to score 200 in a season. Something that has been done only by Eric Sims, albeit on 4 occasions. A great fullback from the late 60s and early 70s, and there's Reynolds with this radar-like kick. Not a lot of effort, it's just a little stab. 28-16.
It's a little punch, isn't it? It's just
a little rip.
Yeah. I see Daryl Halligan, you know, he gives lessons to kickers. He's the best kicking coach in the game. A lot of clubs use him, and he sort of encourages a style like that. Just a short, sharp jab at the bottom. Nothing too elaborate.
That's a bit like the golf swing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Burgess has taken a shoulder charge. Didn't hurt him. He just bounced back up, played the ball. Now low. It's his turn. It's his turn to cop it.
Well, these days, goal kickers aren't having kicks from halfway or 40 metres out. They're not kicking from penalties from wide. So the longest kick you've got is about 35, 40 metres. So you really only need that short, sharp, accurate punch. And it's, Reynolds has perfected it beautifully.
Here's Luke. Look at him. A little will-o'-the-wisp. Down to the halfway line he goes. Reminds me of the New Zealand Test match in Townsville a fortnight after the grand final. And here's Inglis getting the ball away. There's danger coming here for Canberra. And the ball is kicked far forward and centralised by Farrell. And now it's with Dugan. And Dugan bring it back towards the 30-metre line. 28-16 in favour of the Rabbitohs. Have not won a final for a quarter of a century. And they lead 28-16. With 18 minutes to go in this game. Halfway line for Canberra. Macron. He's had to really step up to the plate, Macron. And so too is Williams. There's a knock on there by Berrigan. With the absence, of course, of Campese, just to finish what I was saying.
Well, you take the most influential player out of any club and they're going to struggle, and that's what Terry Campese is. So Josh McCrane, what he's done the last 2 seasons has been tremendous.
Just look at the body language on these Canberra players. I'm not quite sure whether or not they believe at the moment. But, they just look a little bit distraught. They're sort of looking at the clock and the scoreboard now and hoping more than trying to force the issue.
Rugby Union follows this match tonight from Skill Park on the Gold Coast, and Australia playing the Pumas. Right on the halfway line, and Everingham with a fend that gets rid of Whiten.
I reckon if Adam Reynolds gets an opportunity to kick a field goal, he'll break their spirit here. If South Sydney can be next to score anything.
Asatasi played that ball. Sutton turning it back for Burgess, and Burgess got rid of a couple. It went to ground. Did he touch the ball, Taylor? Farrell's with it. Referee said no. Play on. 30 away from the line. Reynolds goes on. Asatasi short. Burgess. And Luke Burgess gets himself into space. Gets the ball away. Oh, good tackle.
Penalty rate.
Oh, Inglis didn't have the ball.
I've got a penalty for taking out without the ball.
Yeah, Blake Ferguson could be in the sin bin for this.
Advantage out of it.
I would think it's a professional foul.
Well,
or possibly a penalty try.
I'm thinking penalty try. Let's listen to this.
Enough. Walk away, boys. We saw the contest without the ball. Yep.
I reckon if we had no video referee, and we can all pray for that one day, but I reckon he'd have nearly given a penalty try here, checking.
Well, he's got to be in the bin at least.
Yeah. He's, I think if it was just up to the referee, he would have awarded this, because that, you just can't do that. You just can't do that. And I think we know, had Inglis got a fair shot at that with the momentum, he'd have probably scored. He's tackled him well before the ball comes. It comes off Inglis, so it's still a knock on. It won't be a try. They were wondering whether or not it came off Ferguson's arm. But that's...
Why can't it be a penalty try?
I never said it couldn't. I just said if there wasn't a video referee, I reckon Checken would have given one straight away. Whether or not they will upstairs, they're a little bit shell-shocked at the moment, Rabbits, the video referees, you know that.
Well, if Canberra get out of this just conceding 2 points, it's very, very lenient. It should be at least 2 points and one man short for another 10 minutes. But it just appears as though it's going to be a penalty.
I'd have no trouble if they awarded a penalty try. Really, I wouldn't. That close to the line and given a fair go, I think England scores.
Well, the referee's only got to have the belief that there would be a try scored and he can give a penalty try, and they have.
It's actually going to be a penalty try.
It's a penalty try.
The play was taken
So
out
they
of the
will
rule.
put the shot at goal will be taken from right in front of the sticks. So there it is. It's a penalty try to Greg Inglis for South Sydney.
Can't argue with that.
No, you can't. Even the most ardent of Canberra supporters would agree. But then again, what does Blake Ferguson do? He's got to do what he did, I guess.
And the skipper, Dave Shillington, went up. The referee spoke to him. There was no argument from David Shillington either.
Lovely play by Burgess. You could just feel it there when Everingham knocked that ball on a dummy half. Looked along the line of the Raiders, and I think they beat these fellas. I really did feel that, and South Sydney just marched through them again and have produced a try. They go out to an 18-0 lead. Look at that crowd in the background. There'll be plenty here next week.
Oh, what about that?
Bulldogs and South, if that's the way it finishes.
So Reynolds pokes it through the sticks. Another 2 to South, and the pride of the league are on their way.
Maybe your side. I've got the line. No. Go along. He's not. And. Come now, Josh.
As you come back to us out of that break, we're on the second tackle for South after a shallow restart off the boot of Dugan, and a knock on by South Sydney. Knock on by Sam Burgess. 34-16 with 15 minutes to go.
Well, before we start talking about crowds next week, we'll just give
Time back on.
the Raiders another 5 minutes or so here to see if they can mount a comeback. But it is a mouth-watering prospect that the Bulldogs and South Sydney could play here in a final. There's 35. They'll more than double that next week. It should be 70 or 80.
Well, Parramatta and Canterbury, they drew 70, didn't they, a couple of years ago? I would have thought Canterbury and South could easily eclipse that. We could be in for a near enough to a full house if it is a South Sydney-Canterbury preliminary final. Talking of preliminary finals, the first will be on Friday night at Amy Park in Melbourne. Here they come, the Raiders. McCrone got it away, and it's Thompson down the ground, getting it back, and here is McCrone again, running across the ground, not held, gets the ball away. Here's Ferguson with the ball, and he's taken down 3 away from the South's line. Now from Earl, out through Shillington, out to Leroy Blas. He's held there by Burgess and Michael Crocker. Can't be certain with South. They're just as likely to clock off as they are on. And here's Williams throwing the dummy, and the half-back is so close. 2 metres out from the line, Sam Williams. Last tackle then for Canberra. Fenson run around. Bucks with the ball. Now through McCrone, he rolls it in behind, but Greg Inglis is there. And he beats Ferguson, he beats another. He's outside the 20, 30, outside the 40, fends another, bumps off another, comes to another, and he'll play the ball 35 away from the Canberra line. Hunt on it goes, Sutton away. Now Reynolds, he kicks for his winger, who's unmarked. Everingham, he'll score Everingham. Everingham scores for the Rabbitohs. They've come 100 metres on the back of one tackle. Brilliant stuff by the red and green.
There was no anyone's left to get Adam Everingham, or Andrew Everingham, I'm sorry. Great work from Greg Inglis down the left-hand side. They had cover upon cover upon cover to stop the number 1 from scoring. Picked it up, shed Ferguson, skipped through a couple of others. McCrone led the chase. Robinson in hot pursuit makes the first contact, and then they kept ahead. Got great vision, this young man, the number 7. He was going to pass, but he saw that Joel Thompson was a long way in off the sideline, and Everingham, well, he's now giving Nathan Merritt really something to chase.
When they put Greg Inglis back to fullback, I wondered a couple of things in his game, whether he'd accommodate. One was effort on effort, and 2 was getting in position for the kick. I'm sure that Inglis makes the tackle on Williams to save the try on the previous play the ball, and then once having made that tackle, gets himself in a position to field the kick when it goes in behind the line. And that's brilliant from Inglis. He makes the try-saving tackle, and then he's there to gather the kick.
And as Adam Reynolds prepares to take the kick, a standing ovation for that man there. I think he's been the best on the paddock tonight. Isaac Luke. And Nathan Peats goes on, Ray.
I don't think he'll be starting off the bench next week. Isaac. Here's Reynolds from the sideline. It's on its way. It's curling away across the face. So Andrew Johns on the sideline. What a moment in this game.
Yeah, what a moment. What a kick to start with. But then I love the way he doesn't panic. Everingham, when he gets in the clear, just keeps his composure, dives over in the corner. This will look great from this angle. Bulldogs players, are you watching this? Bulldogs fans, next Saturday night, you know where you got to come.
We were paid a visit at half-time by one of the greatest Bulldogs of all time, Steve Mortimer. And at half-time, he seemed to me to be quite confident about what he was watching, and why wouldn't he be? I don't think he had too many worries about what he'd seen in the first 40 minutes as he thought ahead to next weekend. But you never know with this team in red and green from Chandler Street or from Redfern. Sutton goes across and he picks up McQueen, and McQueen running through. He gets the ball away. Down the ground is Nathan Peats. He gets the ball away to Greg Inglis. He gets it back to Nathan Peats, and Peats is close to the line. He could have gone for a second movement, but wisely did not. Plays the ball now, and fifth and last is being called. John Sutton to play it. Peats, who's only just come on, goes for a burrowing try, pardon the pun. And it's a handover to Canberra with under 10 minutes to go in the game.
Not early. Wait for it.
38-16. South will play Canterbury in that second semi-final, or that second prelim final.
And Steve Mortimer was hoping that Manly and Melbourne give it to each other next Friday night, just in case the Dogs do get to meet them a week later.
Leroy live. Buttress, Williams, Dugan's after it, but it's come off a rabbit, picked up by Sutton, given quickly away. And Burgess will play the ball 20 metres out, and here they go down the blind side. McQueen losing his footing. He'll play it 10 metres out from the line. Back for Peats, and Peats on to Burgess, and Burgess, I think, played unbroken tonight. I don't think he's had any spell time. Peats, this is Luke Burgess, back to Peats. Is there anybody else out there than Burgesses and Peatses? Well, Peatses, I wouldn't mind one right now. Here's Michael Crocker, and he'll play the ball 2 metres out. Played back. It doesn't get any funnier than that, Gus. Sutton away. Inglis with the ball. Inglis, he put a flick pass together. Knocked on by Canberra. It'll be a scrum, loose head and feed to South Sydney.
Did you say burgers and pizzas?
Something like that.
Burgers and pizzas.
I didn't say that. I said, is there anybody else out there other than Burgesses and pizzas? That's what I said.
No, you said burgers and pizzas.
Well, I might. Well, look, let's call it. Let's not spoil a good story by telling the truth. No. Let's call it burgers and pizzas.
Burgers and pizzas.
Yeah, let's write that in the book.
That's a bit like your room service bill, isn't it?
If I was Michael Maguire, I'd be taking one of my burgers off, actually. I'd be taking Sam to the sideline and with 8 to go.
Wait for the ball to come out.
Right, get the Big Mac off Michael. And here's South now. 9 metres away from Canberra's line. Why shouldn't he have a bit of fun? Here is Sutton. Now here's Inglis again. He comes to Ferguson. He holds him away, but then they come in and combine to put him down. Inglis with the penalty try. What's that? 16 times he scored against Canberra. And here's Crocker playing it to Peets. Now across to Sutton, and Sutton gets back to Reynolds, then on to Pettybourne, and he'll play it 9 out. Another try in the brewing as it goes from Peets, and Luke Burgess is rattled up. Last tackle then for the Rabbits. Where's Reynolds? They're coming away to Sutton. He puts a kick in. It's going to be raked in by Dugan.
Mate, you're very lucky you didn't get pinned. No,
Good defence there by the Raiders. And I guess over the next 6 minutes we can talk about them and their season. We'll have all week to talk about the Rabbitohs as they prepare for the Bulldogs next Saturday night in what should be an absolute blockbuster, an all-Sydney preliminary final. But the Raiders have done a good job, haven't they? I mean, halfway through the season they were written off, their coach was going to be replaced and all sorts of things, and then all of a sudden they got on the finals march and entertained us with plenty of good football. Some good young players in this side. A couple have come of age at the back half of this season, and you have to think their prospects look bright again for the future.
What I like about them, 12 members of their squad played junior footy across country New South Wales, and being a country kid, that pleases me. A knock-on for Souths. They come from all over the state. Ivanhoe, Temora, Cooma, Scone, Crookwell, Orange, Leeton, Tamworth, Moruya, you name it. They've got a kid from some part of the country playing for them.
And that's always been the strength of that club, hasn't it?
Exactly right.
All those kids that have come from country areas and aspire to play in the big time. It's a great avenue through them for the Canberra Raiders down there, and such a consistent club. I mean, they've got some amazing record that they haven't missed making the 8 2 years in a row. For how long, Mido?
1986.
1986. I mean, that's a phenomenal record.
And they've got some quality on the sidelines as well. We mentioned Terry Campese, but Brett White, Bronson Harrison sitting there as well. So they've got some players to come in. We've got plenty of experience behind them also.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's been a wonderful turnaround. I'm so happy for David Furner. I really am. And I probably said it a little bit tongue-in-cheek earlier. Every time you picked up the paper early in the season, he was firming his favourite to be the first coach to get the sack. But they came through number 6 in the premiership. Number 6 in the premiership. That means plenty of finish behind them. And in many ways, they seem to do it on the smell of an oily rag. Here's McCrone. He puts it high down in towards Justin. Oh, Greg has had a look at him, and Hunt had a look at him, and now Hunt has been tackled, and he's in the field of play.
So they lose tonight. So what's their official finishing position? 5th, I guess. There's only 4 teams left.
That's exactly right, but I'm talking across the line at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, no, they've done well.
Yeah. At the halfway mark, they were closer, I think, to the wooden spoon than anywhere else in the competition. But they really turned it around. They came home with a wet sail. There's Hunt, and he brings the ball out 25 metres from his own line. He's also been good. They've unearthed a couple of wingers, the South Sydney side, that's going to go out on the full. Everingham, we've spoken about him. How good is he? And young Justin Hunt has done a good job.
I think South Sydney have got a lot to learn from this game too. It's a flattering scoreline, 38-16. They've easily been the better team. They've run roughshod at different patches of the game, but there's still some moments in the game where they get a little soft and invite the opposition back in, and they can't afford any of that next weekend against the Bulldogs.
No.
They've got to be right on their A game for the full 80 minutes.
That's Picker, who's only just been sent out there. His first taste. And it's McCrone who goes away to Williams. Williams gets it away. It's gone along the ground, and not giving up on it is Whiten. but it'll go out to the 20-metre line for the restart. And Canberra may not get the football again. Not this season anyway.
Let's go, Adam.
They were very
Adam,
strong in
let's
the
go.
early stages. You know, Burgess, Azatazi, Taylor, Crocker. They were really running roughshod in the first 20 minutes. Some strong charges. John Sutton was big in that. I mean, he's the biggest 5'8" in the world. And he had some powerful running as well. Chris McQueen.
Move. Oh, boys, wait, go. 3. Move now.
Well,
John,
Gus,
make it.
trying to put it in a capsule, what have they got to do to beat Canterbury? They can't beat them with this clocking on and clocking off stuff that you keep talking about. Is that their major problem? Stay intense, stay with the game. Inglis.
They've got the ability to put together some wonderful passages of play. We've seen that all season. And it's the one thing that keeps a shot for field goal, I think, misses. The one thing that I keep balking to say that they're a title contender is that they do have those periods where they clock off, and it's simply a matter of cutting down the difference between their best and their worst. Their best is very, very good. Their worst is pretty poor. And sometimes you can get in and out of it all in the one day. But there's no doubting their best will terrorise anyone. It'll terrorise any opposition.
Okay, give me one word. One word for South to think about this week.
Relentless. They've got to be relentless.
There's the word for, from Gus to South. Relentless.
Doesn't matter what if you're playing finals football, origin matches you've got to win. You've got to start with an attitude and you've got to be relentless.
I think it's relentlessness, isn't it?
Well, yeah, relentless.
Doesn't matter. Here they are, taking it out to full time. First final in 25 years that they've won. And young Reynolds, of course, has become only the second ever Rabbitoh to score 200 in a season. He's joined the club. It's a very small club. There's only him and Eric Sims. But Eric has done it 4 times. He used to lay it flat on the ground like the great Keith Barnes, like the great goal kickers of those days. Lay it on the sand. He'd build a divot, or a sand hill, I should say, and that's how he used to kick. But there is this young man, Adam Reynolds. Historic night for him. Historic in that they haven't won a finals in a quarter of a century. South Sydney will play Canterbury next Saturday night, and I think 70,000 would be a reasonable guess at the numbers that they will attract. Up in front of that, of course, the boys will talk about it when they wrap this show up. Manly will travel to Melbourne, and you Manly people, if you can get there, they need you at Amy Park. I know it's expensive, but they need you at Amy Park.